Hey guys, it's Katie. I know I haven't made a video in a little while. I thought it would be fun to make a video today because of 2022, it's the new year. I do like making videos, I enjoy it, and it's definitely something I want to do more of in 2022. I've been stuck at home for about a week, quarantining because of COVID, so I might sound a little nasally, that's why. But yeah, I thought I would do a book haul of some of the books I got towards the end of 2021. I have a lot of books, and I guess let's get into it. So I'm first gonna start with the books that I just got like kind of randomly like throughout like October, November, December, those months. First, how about we start out with more stories from the Twilight Zone. This was a very interesting find, I thought. I found it at my thrift store, my local thrift store. I like short stories. The Twilight Zone seems very interesting to me. Next, we have a book that I was very excited to receive. I pre-ordered this. This is You Will Get Through This Night by Dan Howell. Basically, I used to love Dan and Phil, okay? That's my confession. But once he was writing a book, I knew I had to get it. Especially because it's about mental health, and that's something that I struggle with. And I haven't read it yet. I think I got it in a... I actually probably didn't get this towards the end of the year, because I think this came out around May. But yeah, it's basically... I think it's just like essays and like, well, mental health guide about, you know, how to deal with mental illness. Another book I got in about like November, I think. Diary of an Oxygen Thief. And this is written by Anonymous. Which is kind of a book that I had my eye on for a little while. And I finally saw it at my Barnes & Noble. And I was like, let me do it. Because, you know, when I go to Barnes & Noble, I usually have to buy at least one thing. But, you know, this one was cheap because it's a very thin book. But it might be my first read of the year. Not sure yet. Basically, so it says, say Holden Caulfield was an alcoholic and Lolita was a photographer's assistant, and somehow they met in Bright Light's big city. He's blinded by love, she by ambition, blah blah blah. So, seems like it's just what I like. Next, I'm gonna go through a couple books that I have received to review. So I am part of a company that sends me books to review. I get to pick them out, so that's very nice. And they send me books for free, and I review them. So I have a few here. They're mostly children's and young adults books that I get to choose from. So first we have this children's book called Awake by Mags Deroma. And basically it's about a little kid who finds a spider in her room, and she has to figure out what to do with it. I haven't read it yet, even though it's just a kid's book. I've had it for a little while in my room. I do have to review it in the next couple of months, but I thought it was an interesting idea for a children's book. I'm excited to get into this, even though it's a children's book. I love reading children's books, honestly. I work at a library in the youth section, and kind of, you know, when I'm bored, I'll read a children's book, and it's just, you know, they're magical. They're magical. What more can be said? Another book I have for review is Bad Girls Never Say Die by Jennifer Mathieu, which is the same author of the book Moxie, which I know is pretty popular. I just watched the movie recently. Kind of recently, like over the summer. But it's a good movie. But it's basically described as like The Outsiders, but female. So that's pretty interesting. It's a historical fiction. It takes place in the 60s in Houston, Texas. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. It sounds very interesting. I read The Outsiders in like 8th grade, and I didn't love it as much as everybody else did, but I feel like if I read it now, I would definitely love it. So, we'll see. The last book I have for review is Any Sign of Life by Carson. And this book is basically about this girl who wakes up one day and everybody's gone. But she does have a dog, so that's a plus. I am kind of recently discovering that I love these kind of books, like post-apocalyptic books. Like I've read The Fifth Wave like, I actually love that book so much, and I feel like I never expect to love sci-fi books like these, but I always do. And also just, like, the idea of, like, traveling, like, on foot, it's just very appealing to me for some reason. I don't know. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the books that I got for Christmas. I got quite a few books for Christmas this year. Very excited to read them all. First we have another children's book. We have Whose Moon Is That? The author of this book is actually, the illustrator of one of my favorite tarot deck, which I use all the time. So I love her art style. It's beautiful. All the colors, and it's, I don't know, it's just beautiful. Like the contrast of like black and white with like rainbow. I just love it so much. But this book I thought was really cute. I imagine that one day I'll have it to read to my children. And I love the moon, so it's perfect. Another book we have is The Little Book of Cottagecore by Emily Kent. And this book is just, so it says traditional skills for a simpler life, and I think it's basically just a guide to living simpler. Like at the top it says how to bake bread, sew curtains, garden in containers, make soap, hand pour candles, and more. So it's just kind of like recipes and tutorials. Like here we have an oatmeal cookies recipe. That sounds pretty good. Or pumpkin pie. Quilting. That's very interesting. Honestly, I love doing things with my hands. I love crafts, everything like that. So this will be a fun book to get into. I have a lot of nonfiction books that I got for Christmas. I've been really enjoying nonfiction, like essays and memoirs and stuff. Here we have We Put a Man on the Moon by Scheele. This is basically about how to live your life to the fullest. I think it's less of like a self-help book, and it's more of like a how to live your life for you, I guess. How to make the best decisions and how to live with those decisions even if they're wrong. I hope it's good. I hope I like it, because I feel like these books are kind of a hit or miss sometimes. Next we have a memoir called Crying in Mart by Michelle Zauner. So the beginning of the synopsis says, from the indie rock musician known as Japanese Breakfast, an unflinching, powerful story on family, food, grief, and love. And I believe that this book was in the Goodreads nominees, and also it was on Barack Obama's favorite book list of the year, so I'm very excited to read this. I love a memoir, like I mentioned. Next we have The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa. So this, I believe, is a book about a cat and its owner basically traveling on the road, and we all know how much I love books about traveling on the road and cats. But yeah, I saw this book and I thought it was perfect for me because it's about cats, and well, it's not about cats, but it has a cat in it, and it's about travel. I think it's gonna be very cute, like uplifting, wholesome book, and I'm very excited to read it. Next we have Nothing by Janne Teller, and this is a book basically about like existentialism and like giving life your own meaning. I learned about this book from a friend because it was her pick for our book club. We were in a book club together, and unfortunately we didn't get to read it at that time, but I still wanted to read it because it sounds right up my alley, so I got it, and I'm very excited to read it. And I gotta tell her how it is once I do. Next we have kind of another existential book that my family they were asking me if I was okay, basically, when I got this. But we have Finding Purpose in a Godless World by Ralph Lewis, MD. And I mean, the title sounds very pessimistic. I mean, I guess it's both, because, you know, we have Finding Purpose, but then we also have In a Godless World. I like to look at this book in a positive light because it's about finding purpose. It's not about the belief that there's no God. It's about finding purpose even if there isn't. Honestly, I think this book would be really good for people who are like having like a religious or spiritual like breakthrough, or like a deconstruction, like a spiritual deconstruction. but I guess I'll have to find out more about that when I read it. I have high hopes for this book. I think it's, you know, I hope it gives me some new insights into life and why it matters, even if it doesn't, you know. Alright, so the last book I have is Egghead by Bo Burnham, and I'm a huge fan of Bo Burnham. His special that came out in 2021 was great. I loved it. I love his other specials too. I'm pretty sure this is like a comedic poetry type book. So I feel like it's just something that I can have on, it's like a coffee table book or something like that. There's some drawings in here, some doodles, things like that, so I think it'll be cool. That is all the books that I have for this haul. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely have high hopes to read all these great books. I'm excited for every single one of them and more on my shelf that I have had for way longer. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.